after many, many years of lies being told about me and my family, there comes a point where, again, going back to the relationship between certain members of the family and the tabloid press.
Shocking news straight out of London has shattered headlines, tearing apart the carefully built image Prince Harry has worked years to protect. A confidential financial report allegedly leaked from the tightly guarded records of St. James's Palace has uncovered an unbelievable twist. The Duke of Sussex is reportedly facing a verified financial crisis worth between $100 million and $150 million, threatening to wipe out everything he's built in California. And this isn't gossip, rumor, or whispers from unnamed insiders. This is real, documented evidence pointing to a serious money meltdown that could shake even Hollywood's biggest names. While the public thought King Charles might be preparing a quiet reunion with his distant son for the holidays, something far more intense and urgent was happening behind palace doors. Just last night, a secret high-level meeting sent shockwaves through London. Unmarked Range Rovers were seen cutting through the rain-soaked streets, carrying top royal figures, not to a warm family gathering at Clarence House, but to a crisis meeting at St. James's Palace. On that polished mahogany table, the discussion wasn't about apologies or family drama. It was about liquidity, legacy, and survival. The question on every royal's mind was no longer about reconciliation. It was about whether the monarchy itself could afford to ignore this financial firestorm. Could the royal family really afford to stay connected to Prince Harry any longer? For years, the palace had gone into full defense mode, shielding him through explosive interviews, revealing memoirs, and flashy media ventures. But tonight, that royal strategy took a stunning turn. After what's being described as a desperate request for a huge rescue to save the Montecito estate and handle growing debts, Prince William and the king's top financial advisors reportedly made a bold, historic call. They're not just cutting off royal support, they're letting the financial system take its course, even if that means watching Harry's California empire start to collapse right before their eyes. The precision of it all is said to be absolutely chilling. The burning question echoing through Buckingham Palace tonight is brutally simple. How does a man born into unimaginable privilege end up facing a $100 million financial crisis? And even more shocking, why is his own family refusing to step in? At the center of this dramatic showdown sat Sir Michael Stevens, the legendary keeper of the Privy Purse, often called the living ledger by insiders. Stevens doesn't see the monarchy as a sentimental storybook family. He sees it as a powerful institution that must stay financially sound at all costs. To him, emotion and personal loyalty come second to stability and survival. The detailed report he placed before King Charles and Prince William was nothing less than a cold, forensic breakdown of where the money went and what it means for the royal image. The report was nothing but raw figures, cold, unforgiving math laid out in endless columns and spreadsheets that told a story of stunning financial chaos. Your Majesty, this isn't gossip or scandal. This is mathematics, and the numbers don't lie, Stevens reportedly said as he opened the thick dossier, calling it the anatomy of debt. The details were jaw-dropping. Over $100 million had reportedly vanished through a chain of poor business moves, costly disputes, and extravagant spending, all meticulously documented line by line. The silence in the room was heavy as Stevens guided the royals through every category of expense. King Charles's expression grew more strained with every page. Prince William's jaw locked tight, and Princess Anne, who insisted on attending despite the late hour, sat completely still, absorbing every grim revelation. This wasn't just a story of one man's financial troubles, it was the harsh reality of what happens when someone steps too far from the system that once shielded them. The first bombshell in the dossier, Montecito, revealing a debt of $14.65 million. Stevens explained how the property, purchased in 2020 for just over $14 million, became a financial trap. The real shock wasn't the price itself, it was the interest structure buried deep in the contract's fine print. Those variable rates, once harmless, had skyrocketed after the post-pandemic surge in U.S. interest rates. As the Federal Reserve moved to control inflation, what was supposed to be a luxury estate had turned into a financial drain, swallowing cash faster than it could be replaced. One palace insider described the ongoing costs as absolutely staggering, noting that the property taxes alone topped $200,000 every year. Running the Montecito estate came with a jaw-dropping price tag. Full-time staff, including housekeepers, groundskeepers, security teams, and private chefs, cost millions every single year. The lush gardens, designed to shield the family from cameras and drones, add another six-figure expense annually. Stevens reportedly told the Room that maintaining the property demands Hollywood-level income just to stay afloat, and Prince Harry hasn't seen that kind of revenue in quite some time. The media deals that once promised to support this lifestyle have reportedly fallen apart. The Netflix partnership fizzled out after a documentary series didn't hit the numbers executives wanted, and Spotify ended their collaboration early, leaving headlines buzzing with speculation. Book deals wrapped up, but the advances were long spent, and public speaking offers began to slow as audience interest cooled and criticism grew louder. That stunning Montecito mansion, once the ultimate symbol of freedom and success, had now turned into what Stevens dramatically described as a financial anchor, pulling everything down with it. Then came what he called the vanity tax, a staggering $28 million in legal fees. Every lawsuit, every courtroom challenge, every attempt to defend his name in public added up fast. Stevens even highlighted the high-profile case where Harry fought to retain government-provided security after stepping back from royal duties. The case ended badly, with the court ruling against him, and reports claim he was ordered to cover millions in additional legal costs to the opposing side. "This is burning money just to keep things quiet," Stevens reportedly said, and yet that silence never came. Court documents became public, testimonies were quoted everywhere, and every hearing only fueled more headlines. Huge amounts of cash vanished into legal fees that brought no real results, no closure, no peace of mind. Defamation cases dragged on for years, eating up funds while drawing even more attention to the stories they were meant to bury. Privacy lawsuits only backfired, creating what experts called the spotlight effect, making the very issues they tried to hide shine even brighter. Palace insiders later concluded that Harry's courtroom strategy was built on emotion rather than precision. He fought from the heart, not from the head. He wasn't calculating returns or legal odds. He was searching for validation, for recognition, for some public sense of being right. One legal observer put it perfectly: Harry is fighting battles no court can ever truly win. He's seeking acceptance and acknowledgement that no judge can ever grant. The most shocking discovery of all? Much of this massive legal spending wasn't paid from existing wealth. It was reportedly financed through loans and private credit lines, built on the belief that the royal family would always step in if things went south. But those lenders made a dangerous assumption. King Charles, it seems, wasn't planning another royal rescue this time, and that belief is about to be tested in a very public way. Then came the final blow in Stevens's presentation, the paranoia premium. An eye-watering $31 million poured into private protection and security efforts worldwide. After stepping back from royal duties and losing official police protection, Harry reportedly turned to private contractors, former elite security professionals, ex-military specialists, and top-tier bodyguards who charge premium hourly rates. The setup resembles the kind of high-level protection usually reserved for global leaders, not a celebrity living in one of California's most secure communities. Around-the-clock guards rotate in shifts, armored SUVs circle the estate, and high-tech surveillance systems track every movement on and off the property. Travel is said to involve full-scale security coordination with detailed advance teams and strict protocols wherever he goes. It's presidential-level security, running on what analysts are calling a media income budget. Stevens's evaluation of the situation was harsh but accurate. The cycle, he said, is painfully clear. Harry's deep concern for his family's safety, understandable on some level, has grown even stronger since he stepped away from the institution that once protected him. That fear drives massive spending on private security, which drains cash flow, forcing him to chase new media projects for income, which in turn draws even more attention and public pressure. It's a loop that keeps spinning harder and faster. But the revelations didn't stop there. The dossier also laid bare a list of ongoing operational costs, failed ventures, and lifestyle expenses that piled millions more onto the growing debt. From luxury cars to private jet rentals, lavish holidays, and the upkeep of multiple homes beyond Montecito, every indulgence added another layer of strain to the already crumbling financial picture. These weren't random splurges. They were built-in money drains, steady, relentless, and multiplying with time. Every figure in that ledger revealed a lifestyle completely detached from the reality of sustainable finances. It was a life powered by the belief that royal support and endless goodwill would always be there to fall back on. But that safety net, according to insiders, was officially pulled away last night. By the time the late-night meeting ended, the picture was crystal clear and deeply unsettling. The Montecito mansion, the costly legal fights, the fading Hollywood deals, the media struggles, and the soaring security expenses had all merged into one massive financial storm that looked almost impossible to control. What began as a bold dream of independence and freedom had now twisted into a full-blown financial crisis that could, if not brought under control, completely dismantle the California lifestyle built on that dream. The numbers didn't lie, the empire was wobbling, and the stability once taken for granted was slipping fast. And yet, even after all that, Stevens's conclusion carried an even chillier tone. He warned that the cycle was far from finished. Those same financial pressures would continue to push Harry toward new deals, documentaries, interviews, speaking tours, and projects, all meant to keep the income flowing and the lifestyle intact. But ironically, every public appearance, every headline would keep the spotlight shining even brighter. And that very income he's chasing often brings more public pressure, backlash, and legal complications than relief. It's a never-ending loop, a trap that keeps tightening, and the ledger makes it painfully clear. There's no simple way out. The unspoken truth hanging over Buckingham Palace, over Montecito, and over Harry himself is chilling. The so-called California dream has turned into a financial tightrope, and with every dollar spent, every court filing made, and every new security invoice added, that rope gets thinner and thinner. The world is watching as a prince tries to sustain a lifestyle built on generations of royal privilege that has now been officially withdrawn. The man who once stood at the center of regal comfort is now facing a reality that's relentless, unforgiving, and entirely self-driven. The mounting security bills have become the heart of a vicious cycle. Harry's deep concern for his family's safety, real and understandable, has grown stronger since stepping away from the institution's protection. But those same fears are what drive the massive spending that keeps draining his funds. To fix that, he turns to new media projects, deals, and public appearances to refill the accounts. But that only brings fresh headlines and more scrutiny. Each wave of publicity feeds the very pressure he's trying to escape. The more the world watches, the more he feels the need for even greater levels of security, creating what Stevens called the paranoia premium, a cost that just keeps climbing. Stevens's final verdict was ice-cold but undeniable. Prince Harry isn't just facing temporary money trouble. He's running a financial structure that simply doesn't work, a lifestyle built on spending faster than it earns, and a business model that can't sustain itself without major change. It's a system that reportedly loses money the moment he wakes up. Every new media setback, every underperforming streaming project costs him millions more. Some estimates suggest around $26 million per failed venture, and that's only the beginning. Beyond the Montecito mortgage, the mountain of legal bills, and the massive security costs, the royal audit uncovered what insiders now call the second major pillar of collapse, the media empire that was meant to rescue him. Back in 2020, the Netflix deal was announced with massive excitement, a headline-making $100 million agreement for a slate of projects including documentaries, feature films, scripted shows, and even family programming. The vision was ambitious: to establish Harry and Meghan as powerhouse creators, standing shoulder to shoulder with the likes of the Obamas, who'd inked their own celebrated media deal. But things didn't unfold as planned. What began as a glamorous new chapter turned into a textbook example of what can go wrong in Hollywood when momentum fades. The first documentary series drew huge curiosity at launch. People everywhere tuned in to see royal life through Harry and Meghan's eyes, but viewership sharply dropped after the debut. Critics across the board were ruthless, describing the series as overly personal, out of touch, and lacking the broader storytelling spark audiences expect. Netflix had anticipated follow-up projects, and several were reportedly pitched, with early scripts even being commissioned. But then came the delays, rewrites, and rejections. Nothing moved forward with real urgency or direction. What should have been a thriving media venture instead became a slow-motion stall, exposing how fragile the entire operation really was. In the end, Netflix quietly walked away, choosing not to renew their partnership. Financial insiders say the Sussexes likely received only a fraction of the much-publicized $100 million deal, possibly somewhere between $25 and $30 million, most of which was reportedly eaten up by production costs, staffing, and overhead expenses. What looked like a golden opportunity had turned into another financial disappointment. Then came the Spotify collapse, which ended even more dramatically. After just 12 episodes of Meghan's Archetypes podcast, far fewer than what had been promised in their multi-year agreement, the platform decided to cancel the deal altogether. The decision was widely covered across the media, sparking intense online debate and damaging headlines. Industry figures began weighing in, with some executives openly questioning the project's direction and delivery. The criticism hit hard. Analysts said millions had been paid up front, while the overall output fell short of expectations, leaving the streaming giant with little to show for its investment. The fallout was brutal, not just financially, but reputationally. What was meant to showcase creativity and independence instead became a cautionary tale of overpromise and under-delivery. Insiders now say the negative press surrounding the breakdown has made securing new partnerships far more challenging. This wasn't just about losing revenue, it was about losing credibility in an industry built on results and consistency. The dream of a thriving post-royal media empire had crumbled, leaving behind a shaky foundation that could no longer sustain the vision of total independence Harry and Meghan had once imagined. The Oak Room Summit, the setting for last night's dramatic meeting, carried enormous symbolic weight. This wasn't the warm personal environment of Clarence House, where King Charles usually handles family discussions. No, this was the Oak Room at St. James's Palace, the historic core of royal business, where ambassadors are received, policies are decided, and critical choices have been made for centuries. Around the grand mahogany table sat four key figures: King Charles III, William Prince, Princess Anne, and Sir Michael Stevens. The air was thick with tension, echoing the intensity of the 2020 Sandringham Summit, but this time the stakes were even higher. Witnesses described King Charles as visibly worn and conflicted, torn between the responsibility of a monarch and the instincts of a father. When he finally spoke, his words carried a deep emotional weight. Looking over the reports that revealed Harry's $100 million debt, Charles reportedly saw more than just figures. He saw the looming risk of a very public embarrassment that could ripple through the monarchy itself. "We cannot have the king's son standing in an American courtroom over unpaid debts," he allegedly said, his tone heavy with concern. Those in the room say Charles's proposal was both personal and desperate, a private financial lifeline meant to quietly stabilize the situation. His idea, a loan, not a gift, handled privately to avoid public drama. King Charles reportedly pleaded with the group, his tone serious but still hopeful. "We help him one last time," he urged. "We silence the creditors. We prevent a royal financial scandal that would dominate headlines across the world for months." But before the idea could even take hold, the atmosphere in the Oak Room shifted sharply. Prince William, calm yet unflinchingly firm, decided it was time to step in. He didn't glance towards his father. He didn't soften his tone. Instead, he opened his black leather briefcase and pulled out a single document: the Commercial Liability Assessment. "This isn't about saving Harry," William reportedly said, his voice sharp and steady. His argument was methodical, coldly logical, and impossible to dismiss. Offering Harry another bailout, William explained, wouldn't be an act of compassion. It would be a strategic disaster that could damage the monarchy far worse than simply letting him deal with the results of his own decisions. "We need to face the hard truth," he continued, measured but direct. "Harry isn't just a private citizen living in California. He's now a media brand, and his business depends on storytelling. And in those stories, we are the antagonists." The room fell completely silent. The weight of William's words hung in the air as he laid out the findings from palace analysts. The real issue, he explained, wasn't just financial, it was fundamental. Harry's entire income stream was tied to a public narrative that painted him as the outsider, the one wronged by the institution. And because that narrative sold, it meant that every time the family helped him privately, his brand risked losing its power. "If the royal family steps in now to rescue him," William said firmly, "that entire narrative falls apart. Without that storyline of struggle and tension, Harry's media brand would lose the very foundation it's been built on. To keep the spotlight, he'd have to find new angles, new conflicts, new drama, fresh stories that kept the public engaged and the deals coming in." William didn't stop there. He laid out concrete examples: the Oprah interview, the Netflix documentary, the memoir, each one showing the same pattern. Every private discussion somehow became public content. Every personal moment shared in confidence turned into a headline or chapter. Compassion, he said, had been turned into currency, and that cycle couldn't be repeated. Then came the reminder that sent a clear signal to everyone in the room. William controlled the Duchy of Cornwall funds, the very financial pool that had historically been used to quietly support members of the royal family, including Harry in the past. His stance was unwavering. Not one penny, he declared, will cross the Atlantic to fund a lifestyle that profits from criticizing the very institution that created that wealth. This isn't cruelty, William continued. This is responsibility. His tone was calm but icy, the kind of conviction that left no room for debate. He painted a sobering picture. If they stepped in now, it would only delay the inevitable. A bailout today, he warned, would guarantee another crisis tomorrow, but bigger, louder, and far more costly. The spending habits wouldn't change. The business model wouldn't shift. 2 years down the line, they'd find themselves in the exact same room, facing even more debt and even fewer options. Then came his most cutting line of all. He hasn't just burned bridges with us, William said. He's built toll booths on those bridges, charging admission to anyone who wants to watch them fall apart.
King Charles turned to Princess Anne, perhaps hoping for a voice of reason, but she was already nodding in quiet agreement. Anne, known for her no-nonsense approach and tireless work ethic, has always seen the monarchy not as a sentimental family circle, but as a duty-bound institution, a disciplined, almost military-style operation that must function regardless of emotion or personal loyalties. When Anne spoke, her tone was steady, detached, and razor-sharp. She addressed what she called the real danger, the risk that Harry's growing financial troubles could infect the stability and reputation of the monarchy itself. Trauma explains behavior, she acknowledged softly. I understand Harry carries pain, from loss, from pressure, from years of public exposure, and I do have compassion. The room was still as those words hung in the air. Then, with her trademark directness, she delivered the blow. But compassion does not justify financial recklessness, she said. It doesn't grant permission to trade private family matters for public profit. Sympathy cannot turn into complicity. Then she lifted the thick security cost report, holding it up like evidence in a courtroom. He is spending nearly $6 million a year on private protection, more than some heads of government. This isn't security anymore. It's a performance, and we're being asked to bankroll the show. Her words hit hard. Even King Charles looked taken aback by the bluntness. But Anne wasn't done. She leaned forward slightly, her expression cold and controlled, and delivered the metaphor that ended the debate once and for all. The monarchy, she said, is a ship of state, and no captain can allow a sailor to start drilling holes in the hull just because he says he's seasick. You don't protect someone by letting them take the whole ship down with them, Anne said sharply. You get them safely to shore before they pull everyone else under. With that, she introduced the phrase that would define the rest of the tense discussion: toxic asset. In financial terms, a toxic asset is something that's lost so much value it can't be sold because no one wants to take on the risk. And in Anne's view, Harry now fit that description exactly. As long as he's tied to the royal accounts, and as long as lenders believe we'll keep covering his losses, this family remains exposed. Her words carried the weight of decades of discipline and realism. Every decision he makes, every story that's turned into profit, every public controversy he fuels, it all deepens the cycle of financial and reputational risk, and that's something the institution simply can't keep absorbing. Anne paused, letting the weight of her statement settle. Had they chosen to pay off Harry's enormous debt, she said, it wouldn't have been compassion, it would have been a catastrophic mistake. A bailout wouldn't show kindness, It would confirm a dangerous pattern that failure always comes with a royal safety net. Each pound handed over, she warned, would send the message that no matter how irresponsibly one acts, the crown will clean up the mess. Her voice was calm but edged with steel. That isn't mercy, it's enabling. And enabling someone's self-destruction doesn't just harm them, it puts the entire institution at risk. Then she turned her gaze towards King Charles. Her expression softened slightly, showing a flicker of compassion, but her stance remained unyielding. You can't rescue someone who keeps pulling others down while trying to stay afloat, Anne said firmly. The message landed with brutal clarity. The conclusion was undeniable. Harry had officially become a toxic asset. This wasn't about punishment or vengeance. It was about containment, a decisive, calculated move to protect the monarchy from financial and reputational fallout before it spread further. The royal family, for the first time, was treating this not as a family crisis, but as an institutional emergency. Thus, the St. James Protocol was born, a quiet, strategic blueprint for complete financial separation. With emotions cooled and King Charles finally giving a reluctant nod of approval, the discussion shifted from argument to action. Sir Michael Stevens then opened a final folder, a document that, according to insiders, will never be made public, never appear on the royal website, and never be mentioned in official briefings. It was a piece of history written in secret, one that would shape royal policy for years to come. It was, quite simply, the St. James Protocol, crafted with the precision of a corporate restructuring plan and the emotional distance of a business audit. Its goal, to create a clean financial divide between the monarchy and the Duke of Sussex. Prince William, the chief designer of the plan, reportedly presented it with calm authority. The document outlined 3 powerful pillars, each addressing weak spots that palace financial experts had flagged in what they called the Sussex dependency model. Together, they formed a step-by-step process to carefully dismantle the safety net Harry had depended on for decades. Clause 1, the sovereign firewall. It was absolute, immediate, and non-negotiable. William's voice carried the finality of a judge delivering a verdict. Effective immediately, he announced, all royal financial resources are completely off-limits to Harry and any businesses or entities connected to him. No direct transfers, no back-channel funding, no shared ventures, no exceptions ever. The firewall was designed so that even if the situation spiraled into complete financial collapse, foreclosure, major debt, or public embarrassment, there would be no royal bailout. This isn't a temporary suspension of the Bank of Windsor, William reportedly said. We're shutting it down permanently. If Harry wants to live as a private businessman, he must also accept the real risks and consequences that come with it. The room stayed silent, the gravity of his words settling like a weight on the polished table. This was history being made, not out of anger, but out of necessity. Clause 2, the global credit freeze. This one, insiders said, hit hardest. For years, lenders and institutions across the world had operated under the quiet assumption that the royal family would always step in if things went wrong. That invisible royal safety net gave Harry access to generous credit lines, mortgages, and loans at rates far better than most private citizens could dream of. But under this new clause, that illusion would be shattered. The royal family would issue confidential notices through trusted intermediaries, making it clear that no member of the monarchy would guarantee or support Harry's financial obligations. The hidden royal backing that once opened doors in global finance would vanish overnight. Under the St. James Protocol, Sir Michael Stevens explained the next step in calm, measured tones. Banks and financial institutions around the world would now be formally but privately notified. The Duke of Sussex was to be treated as a fully independent financial entity. No royal guarantees, no collateral from palace accounts, no safety net. The invisible cushion that had quietly supported his credit and allowed him to live beyond his means was being removed in full. His credit rating, Stevens noted, would likely drop, not because of unpaid bills, but because the very foundation of his credibility in the financial world had just been dismantled by royal decree. Then came Clause 3. The legal firewall and communications blackout. This final pillar closed the chapter on the half-in, half-out arrangement that had caused years of confusion and tension between Harry and the Crown. From that moment forward, there would be no personal appeals, no emotional phone calls, no backdoor requests, and no middlemen trying to soften the rules. All financial communication from Montecito would go directly to external legal representatives, professionals whose only job was to enforce the terms of the protocol with zero emotion and zero exceptions. The direct line to the king's accounts, once a quiet but reliable fallback, was now permanently severed. There would be no more quiet rescues, no quiet transfers, no royal lifelines. When the final document was completed, those in the room understood its magnitude. It was, as one observer later described, a bureaucratic masterpiece, cold, clinical, and exact. Every word was designed to protect the Crown's financial integrity, not the comfort of the individuals affected by it. The Duke of Sussex, once welcomed everywhere by name and legacy, now found those same doors quietly closing behind him. William's tone stayed steady, measured, and final. "This is not punishment," he said firmly. "This is risk management. He wanted independence, now he has it, completely." One by one, signatures were added to the confidential memorandum. First, Sir Michael Stevens, then Prince William, followed by Princess Anne. Finally, King Charles signed his name, his pen moving slowly, deliberately, the weight of both duty and heartbreak visible in the act. Princess Anne looked on, silent but resolute. By midnight, the St. James Protocol was officially active. Half a world away, dawn broke peacefully over Montecito. The Pacific shimmered as Harry sat down in his home office, unaware that the ground beneath his entire financial world had shifted while he slept. Calm and perhaps even optimistic, he went about his morning routine as he had for years, still believing that, should things ever spiral, the royal family would quietly step in to make things right. For decades, that had always been the unspoken rule. The Bank of Windsor, as some quietly called it, had always opened when he stumbled, covering debts, fending off creditors, and protecting him from the full impact of financial missteps. But this time was different. The call came mid-morning. His legal representative from London spoke with a tone that was polite but completely emotionless, professional, detached, and absolute. "It's afraid that's not possible, sir," the voice said when Harry asked for assistance covering an urgent financial issue. Every explanation, every appeal about upcoming payments or impatient creditors was met with the same cold response: "The request is denied. Good day." With those 5 words, the cold line was drawn, a phrase that palace insiders would later use to describe the exact moment Prince Harry's financial ties to the monarchy were officially cut. In that instant, he reportedly grasped the full scope of the separation. Formal emails soon followed. Itemized invoices for the Frogmore Cottage renovations left no doubt about what had changed. The message was blunt but unmistakable. He was no longer a beneficiary of royal funds. He was a private citizen with personal financial obligations. Desperate attempts to reach out through familiar channels led nowhere. Trusted aides, once loyal intermediaries, were suddenly unavailable. Phone numbers went dark. Emails bounced back. Even the private digital servers once used for family updates and photo exchanges had been quietly shut down. Every bridge that once connected him to the palace had vanished overnight. Later that day, Harry reportedly stepped out onto his Montecito terrace, staring across the endless Pacific horizon. Yet, despite the vastness of the ocean, the emotional distance between him and London felt infinitely greater. For nearly 5 years, he had fought a public battle against the institution, always assuming that family loyalty and protection would remain unshakable beneath it all. But the St. James Protocol had proven otherwise. The royal family had finally drawn the line between blood and business. King Charles the Father had been overruled by King Charles the Monarch. The era of quiet royal safety nets had ended. Independence, at last, had arrived, but at a price few could imagine. If you've been following this unbelievable royal drama and want to stay updated as the story unfolds, make sure to like this video, drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more shocking royal updates. Things are only just beginning to heat up.